skill is the new MCP. Why you will need a MCP when you have a skill? The MCP was making the link between your clients, so for example, Cloud Code or anything. Then the MCP was a kind of server running locally to make HTTP requests in order to make API call. But this was no sense. MCP concept, for most cases, is a non-fucking sense. Why? Because you can just teach your model to make HTTP requests, and with this, you don't need MCP, and you can create skill for anything, especially with the new popular Claude bot. For example, just here, I can ask him, please create a dub SH for my English channel, blah blah blah, for this video, and he create a link because I create a skill to interact with dub SH. So how to create a skill to interact with anything? So for example, in this dub, you can use this syntax. So I will ask my API token. So I have my API token on the top, and here I create a script that have all the tool that can use my dub. And then here I have a little script generated by IA to do anything. And here I have a skill that explains everything you can do. And how to use this MCP skill just by running bash. Nothing else. Nothing more. It's easy. How to create it? So we will open Cloud Code. So you can create skill with Cloud Code. And you can use the skill creator. So I will say create new skill inside. We will specify the path because sometime we will create it inside Cloud Code. Similar to dub skill in. This skill will be saveit.now. And here I have the documentation of saveit.now. Bam. So really easy. You go, you copy the page, and we just copy paste all the available API routes. So we can delete bookmark, create a bookmark. So saveit.now is a little tool that I create, enable you to create a bookmark, basically. Here we will come to our API key and we can create an API key. So here I will write to delete. Copy the API key and write API key this. So here I create a new skill with all the documentation, with my API key, and here with this prompt, skill creator, create new skill inside open close skill. He can create a skill inside my skill folder. So here you can see that I have a lot of shit inside this OpenClaw folder because I really like to talk with OpenClaw, I'm sorry. But here we can see that he creates saveit.script. He will use the same syntax as this script to create, so with my API token, a script with the action example. So here, and here I have all the action with some bash code that I don't even understand, but we doesn't really care to understand it or no. So here he asks me if I ask him to write it. Yes, obviously. I authorize you everything, my Claudie. You are the king of this computer, you know. So then he will create the skill.md. And if I show you this previous graphic, when we make HTTP requests, we need two things. We need to know what to do. The agent will not always check the documentation, so it's way smarter to just create a skill, and the skill is now the documentation. So he will create, so sorry for the noise, he will create the skill, and now he have this thing. As I create this skill inside OpenClaw folder specifically, I can now come to my OpenClaw bot and say, please add a new bookmark. And so, for example, what can I save? Please add a new bookmark, http ciao.app in saveit. When you do this, now that we create this skill, normally they have hot reload. I'm not sure, sometimes it works, sometimes it's a bit stupid, it's okay. So here we can see that it just download saveit.now skill inside the OpenClaw, that now he can create it, and that now when I go to saveit.now, so saveit.now is this tool, we can see that it's processing ciao.app, and I just create a skill that enable me to interact with my ciao.app through the API, and I can do this. And you can do this for anything you can imagine. Skill is the new MCP. I create skill for everything. I create skill to pilot my entire business. I have skill for Codeline, for my courses. I have skill for dump, for my URL shortener. I have skill for Lumail, my newsletter tool. I have skill for save it, for typefully. I can create tweets. I can create newsletter. I can create like everything. Yes, I think so. So this is more in the memory. And you can do everything like this. So MCP is really not useful, and I really I can understand that it was purposeful before, but you can really do a lot of stuff with skill, because the problem with the skill now we save it is that save it as just API. So when the API change, the skill doesn't change, it doesn't work. What I do for Lumail, my software, I create different thing. I actually doesn't explain in what tool is available, but I write a tool list. This list, API endpoint, is a really specific API endpoint. I can show you in HTTPI. So I create a kind of new process for this. So this API endpoint, API v2 tool, give the list of all the tool. And the crazy part is it doesn't actually work here, but it gives the input schema. So you have the specific schema and the specific URL. So here you can discover the tool and be updated every day because they have the schema. I think I just forget to commit the schema. So this is also a new way to make maybe API routes, because if your API route change, or if you have new param of new route of new thing, it's really useful to have an API route to get the API route detail with the name, description, input schema, exactly like a MCP. But why you need a MCP protocol if you just can have an API route? What? Yes, you are like, yes, I don't understand. I don't understand too. You don't understand. Nobody understand. It's easy. Just use this. It's really interesting. If you want to make me a video about this, tell me in the comments. See you.